Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford ZDC, and today we're taking a look at this little slip joint, not actually little, a fairly medium to medium large size slip joint from Tuya. This is the Blackbeard version 2, designed by Andy Thiel, with help from Sasha, the European distributor for Tuya. This is their take on a modern slip joint. You're looking at a titanium handle, an M390 blade, 7.5 inches overall, and 3.4 ounces. Now, there's a little more on the description that they have on their website that I want to talk about right away, because it's the only problem I have with this knife. And let me read you their words first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on it. So, their words directly from the Tuya website. There is a half stop with intermittent stops that is unique and really feels more fidgety, safer to close, and easier to open from half stop with thumb. All right, let's talk about that. A half stop is definitely a safety mechanism. Agreed there. I think it makes it feel more safe to close. Completely agree with that. But easier to open from the half stop with your thumb. I don't really open knives from the half stop with my thumb because the only way to do that is by touching the edge, and I don't want to do that, especially if you keep your knife sharp. And why does a half stop have intermittent stops? And I think I just need to show these to you so you can really see this. So we're fully open, of course. We are flush with the spine. The fit and finish is nice. The scales are crowned over, so it doesn't feel flush with everything, but the spine is flush with the back spring. Anyway, let's move on to this. Is the first intermittent stop. There is your half stop. Here's the next intermittent stop. And then you have the full spring force to take over. You can see the design of this tang has 3 distinct flat surfaces. Not including the fully open position and the fully closed position. Hopefully you can kind of see this as it goes. This first area right here that's shiny, that is our first position. Now the second one there is our full half stop. That third one, that big sheen of oil on it, is the second intermittent stop. And then this whole area here is the fully open position. So there we are at the partial. The half, you can see the jump here. Partial, half, partial, open. One of my favorite parts about playing and fidgeting with a slip joint is closing it one-handed. This feels like it's going to jump down on your finger every time. I know that the stop is there. But man, it feels like it's going to close all the way down if you're using your thumb especially. You go like this, that thing swings to this weird quarter stop, really low, where if it's at the half stop, you could be positioned nicely, and almost hit you in the finger. And then it stops though, because this is the more authoritative portion of the stop here. You can see how much of that spring wants to push it back forward. But still, come on, like... What was the point in this? And then they talk about opening it with your thumb from here. I'm sorry, but I don't want to have to press on the edge with that much force. You can do it, but it's starting to feel like it's cutting a little bit. It takes a pretty significant amount of force to go up from there. And I don't know if they mean on the kick here. I guess that's certainly an option, but are you really going to open this 3/4 of the way, stop, and then open it with your thumb? That doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm going to open this two-handed like you have to, I'm just going to roll it all the way out. And then the knife's open. And to close it, if I want to use one hand, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. Because the spring tension, you're not making your way through all 3 of these steps in the closing action unless you really deliberately stop yourself with 2 hands on the close there and then go all the way through. It just doesn't make sense. If Andy or Sasha want to tell me why they did this, I'd love to hear it. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Another thing worth mentioning is that they're calling this bronze. This is... I struggle to see the bronze in this. I mean, I guess a little. But like the desk is gray. This is pretty gray to me. It's a very lightly colored bronze with the satin here. They also offer this in a full DLC version. I believe it is fully DLC. Yes, the blade is DLC as well. So you can get an all black version or this version here. $209 for the bronze version and $219 for the blacked out version. Now, in terms of just being a knife, now that I'm done complaining about the half-stop functions for 5 minutes here, it's totally fine. You have a milled pocket clip here, milled titanium clip, so it is leading into the more modern side with that. Your handle's fairly comfy. It's a little bit small for my taste, but it's just because of the size of my hands. My pointer finger wants to land up here where you have these corners, so it's not super comfortable, but I can choke down on it a little bit, and it's not bad there. This flare is just a nice part of the design, and in a hammer grip there's room for my hand, and it feels pretty comfortable that way. Now they did choose to go with a flat grind on this, and coming from fairly thick blade stock, well, a fairly standard blade stock I should say, but a fairly thick grind that only goes about 60% of the way at the greatest point up through the knife, leads to a rather thick edge and is not super slicey. It cuts just fine, don't get me wrong. Just it isn't as slicey as I would like, especially for a slip joint. You're not going to be using this for anything super hard. You'd want something with a lock for that. So a hollow grind that gets really thin behind the edge would definitely be preferred. With all that being said, you know, I don't know if I can recommend this knife, especially for people who are slip joint lovers. That action is just not gonna, you're not gonna enjoy it. And I think it's gonna confuse you more than anything else. And it just bugs me. And it's a shame because the knife overall isn't bad at all. It just bugs me with that design choice and this weird fidgety, that's not fidgety, half-stop thing. And that's ultimately my largest hang-up with this knife, and the fact that the edge could be thinner. Otherwise, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with this at all. If you love this design, which I did the first time I saw it, I thought this was going to be a really nice piece when I saw that they were re-releasing the Blackbeard. It had been, I think, a few years, or maybe a year since Tuya released the original Blackbeard. And yeah, the second version, I thought, oh, you know, that might be nice. I think I would like to check that out. Pass around, happen to have one, so I got lucky there. But it's got these weird stop things, and it just ruins the knife for me. For somebody who is like a slip joint purist who loves it. I like the modern stuff too, don't get me wrong. I just filmed my review on the Lake Champlain from C. Risner Cutlery, and I have plenty of traditional GECs and custom slip joints. I have a screw together custom slip joint. I have a Jack Wolf still, so there's plenty of variety in the slip joints that I like. This just doesn't fall in that category, and it's all because of this. It just doesn't do anything for me. And for me, slip joints are all about that crisp walk and talk to and from the half stop, and you just lose that on this guy. I hate to make an 8-minute video, 9-minute video of me ranting about something, but here it is. If you really like this knife and the design, and you're not like a slip joint guy normally, you might want to try this. I don't think it's going to convert anybody. This is not what all slip joints are, but if for some reason you like that triple half stop thing, you know, this is the only place you're going to find it. So go for it. Like I said, performance-wise and just generally speaking as a tool, it's totally fine, but ultimately just not for me based off of the action. So let me know what you guys think down below. Does that infuriate you the way that it bothers me? Are you even into slip joints? You know, you're probably not. If you're not, you probably didn't watch this video anyway, is what I'm trying to say. But if they're not really your thing, but you're checking this out, what do you think about that, especially when compared to something like the Lake Champlain Barlow, which is $10 cheaper than the Tuya, or even something like a GEC, which when you can get these for retail prices, these are just over like mid-hundreds, usually not even approaching $200. So let me know what you think down below. And yeah, I'd love to hear everybody else's thoughts on these. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.